Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Early this Sunday morning, 5:15. Just had a major blizzard, snow blizzard here in Minnesota. You look out of the window, you think about yesterday. When you looked out, you could see the grass. It was still brown and messed up from earlier, but you could see the ground. You could see the street, the sidewalk, automobiles. They're visible. The snow was missing. And you wake up this morning and everything is covered up. I mean, the grass, basically, the sidewalks, the steps, the stairs, everything that snow could reach is all covered up. So things come and things go, and we are satisfied with them or are not. But as spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, and I am, which basically means I have a relationship with God and understanding that God is the answer to all of our problems. And I say that because I know that there is a God that exists. And why do I know that there's a God that exists? Because I've had miracles. And when I say miracles, I'm talking about things that we as human beings cannot do. You know, like the existence of the earth got to be a miracle. Somehow we couldn't create it and all the things that it does. All of the resources that are here on this earth that allow us to engage ourselves in creating what we need, what we have determined that we need. Well, we might be able to use the resources and cause manifestations of certain things, but we sure didn't create the resources. So that's a miracle as well. And as human beings, we all find ourselves living and we want to live. We want to enjoy the best that life has to offer and not necessarily just live. And so we do that. We aim for that. We pursue that satisfied life. And yet the reality of it is over time we find that it does not exist like that. And so we have what we call the spirituality that has directed us to what we call religion, what we call church, what we call having a Bible, having some reference to the unknown that others have experienced and called some writings and left for us to deal with. Maybe we can find something in it that would free us, that would loose us, especially when I'm talking about problems that exist because we have no solutions to them. You know, we're talking about people who've been called, chosen by this power that created the earth to be able to look at the situations of life and direct our path by understanding what basically the most of us cannot understand. You know, we talk about uh, having faith, and we talk about that faith is dead if it has no action. You know, faith without works is dead. And yet we try to say that we have to have the kind of faith in God that is similar to that of a child who listens to his mother or her mother from the time they out of that womb. Somebody that's constantly hugging them, someone that's constantly embracing them, someone that's constantly kissing them and making sure that if their belly aches because they're hungry, that they get food. And if their belly aches because they got too much food, they can get something that can kind of soothe that pain and take it away. And so when you have experienced this for a period of time, it's easy for you to see mom and see dad and they say, come here, baby girl, come here, baby boy. And you just run to them. Why? Because you have a faith in them, a faith that's real. It didn't just pop out of anything. It was created. It was a faith that was established on the fact that they were always there for you. And now we're talking about reaching an age where mom and dad not actually kissing you like that. They're not actually hugging you, but they still love you. And they tell you now you come to a stage where you have to rely on a different parent, a godly parent, one that's really responsible for your being here. Yes, your mom and your father did some things to play a role in that process, but the breath of life didn't come from them. It might have come through them, but it was the breath of the almighty power that we can't see, a power that is invisible. And I'm saying these things to you, ladies and gentlemen, because to me, God is real. And the pain and suffering that is experienced in any situation, whether it's personal or whether it's a collective thing, it is because the truth has been denied and something else has taken control. And it is usually a deception, corruption, and all other things that spring from that. And yet, I'm here, as many others are, to try to see if we can work this thing out. So, I've talked to the people for 40 some odd years. I've asked them to give me an opportunity to represent a system of government, but they have had no faith in that, and they have rejected and gone more or less to the what they have been taught, what they have seen, and what they have been really trained to believe. And so I take this moment to speak to the politicians, to speak to the governors of America, to speak to the mayors and aldermen of America, to speak to the House of Representatives, to speak to the United States senators, and even to the President of the United States. We have problems that we have to resolve, and it requires that we make some changes. The men who have been called by God to preach, well, there was one, or a few of them. The understanding is that Jesus, who called his what you call disciples or people to follow him, showed them what they were supposed to do. When people were sick, lay hands on the sick, pray for folks, fast so you can be powered up. And, that people today say they were called by God, but they're laying hands on people and nothing is happening. So there's something wrong, something that's missing. At the same time, when the preachers have failed, then it becomes the responsibility of all of us, really, to come together and let us work it out. See, the things that really bothers us in a lot of times is whether we got those essentials necessary for survival, like food and clothing and shelter, et cetera, et cetera. And you, the politicians who have come together, and you told the rest of the people that you have an idea, whether it's Republican or Democrat, whether it's male or female, whether it's our system or some other system. We each try to tell the people that we have a solution. We have worked it out and give us the opportunity to take the leadership, and we're going to make sure that we look after you. We're going to protect you by utilizing that which is available to us. And we have learned that for the most part, it's not like the parents when we were young. We don't run to you because for so long we have heard of you, we watched you, we voted for you, and the pains and the sufferings have existed continuously. Doesn't mean that there haven't been some good times. Yes, there have. But overall, when the pain and suffering comes, it makes us forget about the good times. And so we look to you and say, what can you do? We let you know, we protest to let you know you have failed us. And we need your assistance. We need your help. We need your support. We need you to pull forth from you that which you say you have that we don't have and look after us. And we don't mean to be mean, but we just say the protest is to say, get it busy, take care of it now. And so you who have gone into government, gone into politics, the truth of the matter is that we kind of see you now as people who do not believe in God because, and it's no big thing when the preachers can't lay hands on, then that means that we, the people have to come up with something that works. How do we meet these needs? Well, we understand that as far as housing goes, there are builders out there. Every house that exists was built by someone. The food, education, and healthcare. These are things that we have been gifted by that power to help us uh, facilitate those programs that would meet the needs of the guys who can't lay hands on the miracle workers. We're not looking for the preacher to be the miracle worker. Now we're looking for the people to be the miracle workers of themselves. So I think that emphasis should be given to you politicians to let you know that yes, you have failed, but we still need you. We still need you. And we don't need a politician that doesn't know what they're doing and try to force people, by winning armed troops amongst the people, trying to cause them additional pain and suffering if they don't walk the walk that have already failed in, stay it anyway, forcing people. And we don't need politicians and leaders who are going trying to take other stuff from other people to say it's going to bless us, and in the same at the same time really causing extraordinary pain and suffering to the one that we forced to bend, to force to give the knee. That's not godly to me. The godly thing is that it got to work for us and them. There got to be a way. And so my emphasis this morning is to say that we are not operating in such a way. We are not operating in such a way. The churches have failed us. Yes, they might know about God, but or read about God or heard about God, but that doesn't mean anything. If you haven't experienced God, you really don't know what you're talking about. So we have been looking, and hopefully still are looking for people who have been led by God, who are being led by God, and not just some talk. See, we're looking for those who are walking on the spiritual side and in government. Those you politicians, we need somebody that's walking. And that means we need people who care about themselves, most of all, and have a great love and passion for themselves. And extend that same love and passion that you have for yourself to everybody else that's on this earth, all people, that you feel that your pain is representative of the pain that they have, and you can't take it, so you know they can't take it. They need help from others to help them take these pains. And so, what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to change our system, not just in America, but all over the world. I think about over in Minneapolis, we got people who are complaining, saying things have failed us. The governor has done what he possibly could. He even ran to be vice president of the United States. And yet we have people that are so divided and so split up in their understanding about life that that wouldn't even work. We had a woman who's running for president who said all of the things that's happening in America today will be happening if you don't elect her as president. But we have been taught that black people can't do it, especially women can't do it. And the only one that can do it are white people. And the ones that white people that can do it are those that's rich. And so we put our faith in them, only to find out they're the worst thing you could ever have as far as the leadership goes. So what we're trying to get you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the power to fix the situation is in we the people as individuals, and we the people as a collective. We are the ones. So in order for us to understand how we are supposed to do it, what we're supposed to do, we have to reach outside of the boxes, the things that we have tried that have been a little here and a little there but never worked. So we got to go outside of the box. And my interest to tell you today is that being outside of the box, don't just be outside of the box, but go outside to a place where it supposedly works. And that's the same power that created the earth, the same power that brought about the resources, the same power that made it possible for us to be here. Let us find some way to connect ourselves to that power, that power might be to work through us, and if don't just give us the understanding, but work through us, and let us fix these problems, help us to fix these problems. So we're asking God to help us fix these problems. We're asking those who say they're called by God to do God's work to help fix these problems. We're asking the leadership of these people, of these countries, of these cities and states and towns to help us fix these problems. And we're asking the people who are going through these problems to wake up and let us work, give of ourselves to make sure that we all together fix these problems. It seems to me that that is the charge that we've been given today, because it seems that everything is failing except that, and we haven't ever tried that. So I'm challenging everybody, let us come together and recognize that when we're sick, we need a doctor, because laying on the hands didn't work. And since we know that we need a doctor, that means that somebody has been given the understanding, somebody has been given the knowledge to be able to deal with the headaches, to be able to deal with the cramps, to be able to deal with the pain. And that requires education for those who know to show. And an education should be available to all who wants to be in the medical profession, because there are a lot of pain and suffering going around. And whether we know it or not, there are a lot of people who have been touched in such a way that they can be able to help us in that regard. However, as an outside of that, must make sure that everything that is necessary, everything that is required to assist these people who can help us as being doctors, uh, have the resources to do that. That means the education, they must be going to have the opportunity to go where the education is, and there should be nothing that prevent them from acquiring this education if this is what they want, if this is the path that they've chosen. And today it seems that the things that keeps them from being engaged in the medical profession is that there's money, because everything costs money. So we, the people, must remove money, which is a handicap from us doing anything that we have been given to do. We should make sure that everybody that wants to be a doctor, has some relationship in the medical profession, can do it. And that's the same thing when it comes down to food. That's the same thing when it comes down to housing. It is a responsibility of every last one of us to make sure that that is available and accessible, not through forcing people to walk a certain way that doesn't work, not through trying to rip and rob and steal and kill and war to take stuff from other people, trying to benefit some at the expense of others. No, my friends, today we must understand that we've been here a long time, and we should be so much better than where we are. And just talking about God is not good enough. That's just talk. And when we talk about God, we're not able to reflect that which God was supposed to have been reflecting at that time. But we say that we've been chosen to do what? To do what God has been want us to do. We had a representative, they say, called Jesus. And if you really study, you find out that Jesus is not the only one. There were many others just like Jesus that represented other times who had to go through some of the same experiences that Jesus went through, which means that the people had to go through the same things. Which means today, having gone through that for so long, we should be able to have this thing wrapped up, but we don't. So I'm saying we must realize that the methods that we are trying, the things that we've given up to ourselves to, have failed us. We must be able to fix this stuff, and we must understand that if it's not working today, we need change. We need change, the kind of change where our efforts, where our goal is to find and discover what those methods are, what those prerequisites are that would enable us to do these kinds of things. And it's not really that complicated when you really put your mind on it. When you really think about trying to achieve these certain things, we recognize, or should understand, that perhaps each of us really do play a role in this life structure. And one of the things that I recognize that we do but don't do is that we understand that all the things that are done by workers. But what is our motivation? Our motivation usually is we want to achieve those things, access those things that makes life satisfied. And it's difficult. We've tried the way that have not worked. We've had people that steal all the resources for one reason or another. And their motivation is not necessarily the first motivation. The primary motivation is not necessarily to serve the needs of the people, but to make money off serving and trying to meet the needs of the people. That's exploitation. But that's the way it has been, and this is the way we are susceptible to losing the benefits of true life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I can talk a long time, and there's a lot to be said. And I don't want to bore you. I want to inspire you. And to do that, I need to talk to you in moments of time, because I know your struggles in life will not allow you to just sit here and listen to this or listen to that, but to give you moments where you can listen to some and come back with additional information. Because I don't want to repeat myself continuously as I have been doing and probably am doing at this moment right now. So I'm saying I'm going to kind of leave this with you that I've shared with you right at this moment, at this time. And thank you so very much for committing yourselves to listen to this. And I hope, for God's sake, that it's inspiring you to understand that there are additional things that you must do and that you can do and that you're willing to do and choose to do. And when I get some additional information, hopefully something that's brighter, something that's easier to understand, that will bring clarity about, by that power that is responsible for answers, that power that is responsible for solutions, that not only give me information to share with you, but as you utilize what you have, that it allows you to be able to spread news, to share with people, to get understanding yourself, that others might be able to get understanding. And as we each seek it for understanding, for the achievement of a common goal, it might be it might not take us 400 years. It might not even take us a year. There are some things that we can accomplish right away. And these are the things that will help us. By accomplishing these things that we can handle right away, will help us to inspire us to move on to those things that seem to be a little bit more complicated. You would think if somebody can create a computer, you know the value and what it takes in operating computers. We know that most of us know that we could never have done it. But God touched somebody, not to make money off the computer, but to make sure that computers were available to do the things that they do. Believe me if you want to, but look at AI. God touched somebody so that they could be able to create AI, artificial intelligence. And you know, they come quite handy through what they do for us as we call them to do it. So that's a magnificent thing, but not to make money off, but to be there to render a service to us that would make life more accessible to us as we as individuals have been made to make life and joy more accessible to the power that is responsible for our creation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, I can keep on going. So I'm going to just go ahead and thank you again for allowing this moment to be available to you and you access it. And I want to thank you again. And I'm going to say to our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for giving us an opportunity this day in the middle of all the snow and whatever suffering we're going through to sustain this moment in time. And our hopes and aspiration is that we can glorify you and give you a chance to utilize us in such a way that the world and its pains and its suffering and its corruption and lying and cheating and all that other stuff can be dissipated. Here again, we thank you, Heavenly Father. And ladies and gentlemen, the governors, the politicians, and all of us that are listening to, we need each other. For us to fix these problems, we need each other. And it's not a con game. The con game is because we didn't know God. We didn't know that God wanted this. So we believed in ourselves and our ability to be willing to do what other folks won't do, to rob you. Some of you don't want to rob, to steal from you. Some of you don't want to steal, to hate you. That usually comes out of the methods that we employ. But some of us don't want to hate. So let us remove those kinds of things that drive us to act that way by making sure we could give up ourselves inspirationally, spiritually, with our hearts to find solutions and deliver solutions to one another. Again, thank you and have a nice day.